7:22. I couldn't start thinking of 2 years. So I was traveling, I was in San Francisco, back in New York, and I'm going to Connecticut. So, and I'm in the present which is like so I thought I'd better do the recording for my reading session. Today it's not going to be 20 minutes, it's probably going to be more than that. More like an hour. Let's do it in two parts though. Um, so right now it's 1 o'clock. We can do 1 to 125, and then another one. Okay, so let's start the timer. I don't know if you guys can see. You can see the timer. Okay, so we were reading page 17. Start where we stopped. Part of the problem is clearly foresight, a failure of imagination. But the other part of the problem is what we didn't do in advance and what we're failing to do now. And that is a failure of action, and specifically our widespread inability to build. We see this today with the things we urgently need, but we don't have. We don't have enough coronavirus tests or test materials, including amazingly cotton swabs and common reagents. We don't have enough ventilators, negative pressures, and ICU beds, and we don't have enough surgical masks, ice shields, and medical cooling gowns. As I write this, New York City has put out a desperate call for rain ponchos to be used as medical gowns. Rain ponchos. In 2020, in America, we also don't have therapies or vaccine, despite, again, years of advance warning about airborne coronaviruses. Our scientists will hopefully invent therapies and vaccines, but then we may not have the manufacturing factories required to scale that production. And even then, we will see if we can deploy therapies or a vaccine fast enough to matter. It took scientists 5 years to get regulatory testing approval for the new Ebola vaccine after a scourge's 2013 outbreak, at the cost of many lives. In the US, we don't even have the ability to get federal bailout money to people and businesses that need it. Tens of millions of legal workers and their families and many millions of small businesses are in serious trouble right now. We have no direct method to transfer money without potentially disastrous delays. A government that collects money from all its citizens and businesses each year has never built a system to distribute money to us when it's needed most. Why do we not have these things? Medical equipment and financial conduits involve no rocket science whatsoever. These therapies and vaccines are hard. Making masks and transferring money are not hard. We could have these things, but we chose not to. Specifically, we chose not to have the mechanisms, the factories, and systems to make these things. We choose not to build. You don't just see this month complacency, this satisfaction of the status quo, and the unwillingness to build independent or in health or care generally. You see it throughout Western life and specifically throughout American life. You see it in housing and the physical footprint of our cities. We can't build nearly enough houses in our cities with surging economic potential, which results in crazily skyrocketing house prices in places like San Francisco, making it nearly impossible for regular people to move in and take the jobs of the future. We also can't build the cities themselves anymore. When the producers of HBO's Westworld wanted to portray the American city of the future, they didn't film in Seattle or Los Angeles or Austin. They went to Singapore. We should have green skyscrapers and spectacular living environments in all our best cities at levels way beyond what we have now. Where are they? We see it in education. They are top end universities, yes, but to the capacity to teach only a microscopic percentage of the 4 million new 18-year-olds in the US each year, or the 120 million new 18-year-olds in the world each year. Why not educate every 18-year-old? Isn't that the most important thing you can possibly do? Why not build a far larger number of universities or scale the ones we have way up? The last major innovation in the K-12 education was Montessori, which traces back to the 1960s. Which traces back to the 1960s. We've been doing educational research that's never We've been doing educational research that's never reached for practical deployment for 50 years since. Why not build a lot more great K-12 schools using everything we now know? We know one-to-one tutoring can reliably increase education outcomes by 2 standard deviation, including 2 sigma effect. We have the internet. Why haven't we built systems to match every young learner with an older tutor dramatically improve student success? We see it in manufacturing. Contrary to conventional wisdom, American manufacturing output is higher than ever. But why has so much manufacturing been offshore to places with cheaper manufacturing? Now, we know how to build highly automated factories. We know the enormous number of higher paid jobs to create, design, and build and operate those factories. No, and we are experiencing right now the strategic problem of relying on offshore manufacturing of free goods. Why are we building Elon Musk's alien dreadnoughts? Giant, gleaming, state-of-the-art factories producing every conceivable kind of product at the highest quality, lowest possible cost, all throughout our country. You see it in transportation. Where are the supersonic aircraft? Where are the millions of delivery drones? Where are the high-speed trains, the soaring monorails, the hyperloops, and yes, the flying cars? Is the problem money? That seems hard to believe when we have the money to wage endless wars in the Middle East and repeatedly bail out incumbent banks, airlines, and car makers. The federal government just passed a $2 trillion coronavirus rescue package in 2 weeks. Is the problem capitalism? I'm with Nicholas Stern when he says that capitalism is how we take care of people we don't know. All of these fields are highly lucrative and already should be prime stomping grounds for the capitalist investment, good for both the investor and the customers who are served. Is the problem technical competence? Clearly not, or we wouldn't have the homes and skyscrapers, schools and hospitals, cars and trains, computers and smartphones that we already have. The problem is desire. We need to want these things. The problem is inertia. We need to want these things more than we want to prevent these things. The problem is regulatory capture. We need to want new companies to build these things even if incumbents don't like it, even if only force the incumbents to build these things. And the problem is build. We need to build these things. We need to separate the imperative to build these things from ideology and politics. Both sides need to contribute to building. The right starts out in a more natural, albeit compromised place. The right is generally pro-production, but is too often corrupted by forces that hold back market-based competition and the building of things. The right must fight hard against any crony capitalism, regulatory capture, ossified oligopolies, risk-inducing offshoring, and investor-friendly buybacks in lieu of customer-friendly and over a longer period of time, even more investor-friendly innovation. It's time for full-throated, unapologetic, uncompromised political support from the right for aggressive investment in new products, new industries, and new factories and new plants and big leaps forward. The left starts out with a stronger bias toward the public sector in many of these areas, to which I say, prove the superior model. Demonstrate that the public sector can build better hospitals, better schools, better transportation, better cities, better housing, and stop trying to protect the old, the entrenched, the irrelevant, and commit the public sector fully to the future. Milton Friedman once said the great public sector mistake is to judge policies and programs by their intentions rather than their results. Instead of taking that as an insult, it is a challenge. Take it as a challenge. Build new things and show the results. Show that new models of public sector healthcare can be inexpensive and effective. How about starting with the VA, when the next coronavirus comes along, blows away? Even private universities like Harvard are lavished with public funding. Why can't 100,000 or 1 million students enroll at Harvard? Why shouldn't regulators and taxpayers demand that Harvard be built? Solve the climate crisis by building. Energy experts say that all carbon-based electrical power generation on the planet could be replaced by a few thousand new zero-emission nuclear reactors. So let's build those. Maybe we can start with 10 new reactors, then 100, then the rest. In fact, I think building is how we reboot the American dream. The things we build in huge quantities, like computers and TVs, drop rapidly in price. The things we don't, like housing, schools, and hospitals, skyrocket in price. What is the American dream? The opportunity to have a home of your own and a family you can provide for. We need to break the rapidly escalating price curves for housing, education, and healthcare to make sure that every American can realize the dream, and the only way to do that is to build. Building isn't easy, or we've already been doing all this. We need to demand more of our political leaders, of our CEOs, our entrepreneurs, our investors. We need to demand more of our culture, of our society. We need to demand more from one another. We're all necessary and we can all contribute to building. Every step of the way to everyone around us, we should be asking the question, what are you building? What are you building directly or helping other people to build or teaching other people to build? How are you taking care of people who are building? If the work you are doing isn't either leading to something being built or taking care of people directly, we have failed you, and we need to get you into a position, an occupation, a career where you can contribute to building. There are always outstanding people in even the most broken systems. We need to get all the talent we can on the biggest problems we have and on building the answers to those problems. I expect this essay to be the target of criticism. Here's a modest proposal to my critics. Instead of attacking my ideas of what to build, conceive your own. What do you think we should build? There's an excellent chance I'll agree with you. Our nation and our civilization were built on production, on building. Our forefathers and foremothers built roads and trains, farms and factories, then the computer, the microchip, the smartphone, and the uncounted thousands of other things that we now take for granted. They are all around us that define our lives and provide for our future. There is only one way to honor their legacy, to create the future we want to build with for our own children and grandchildren. That is the goal. It is time to build. So that was the essay of It's Time to Build. Now let's go to the next one, which is the Techno Optimist Manifesto. We live in a deranged age, more deranged than usual, because despite great scientific and technological advances, man has not the faintest idea of who he is or what he is doing. By Walker Percy. This was a quote by Walker Percy. We have another quote from Marion Tupy, and I quote, "Our species is 300,000 years old. For the first 290,000 years, we were foragers, subsisting in a way that's still observable among the Bushmen of Kalahari and the Sentinelese of Andaman Islands. Even after Homo sapiens embraced agriculture, progress was painfully slow. A person born in Sumer in 4000 BC would find the resources, work, and technology available in England at the time of Norman conquest, or in the Aztec Empire at the time of Columbus' white conqueror. Then the beginning of 18th century, many people's standard of living skyrocketed. What brought about this dramatic improvement and why? Unquote. And there's another quote by Thomas Edison. Quote, there's a way to do it better. Find it. Unquote. Lies. We're being lied to. We're told that technology takes our jobs, reduces our wages, increases inequality, threatens our health, ruins the environment, degrades our society, corrupts our children, impairs our humanity, threatens our future, and is ever on the verge of ruining everything. We're told to be angry, bitter, and resentful about technology. We're told to be pessimistic. The myth of Prometheus in various updated forms like Frankenstein, Oppenheimer, Terminator harms our nightmares. We're told to denounce our birthright, our intelligence, our control of nature, our ability to build a better world. We're told to be miserable about the future. Truth. Our civilization was built on technology. Our civilization is built on technology. Technology is the glory of human ambition and achievement, the spearhead of progress and the realization of our potential. For hundreds of years, we properly glorified this until recently. I'm here to bring the good news. We can advance to a far superior way of living and of being. We have the tools, the systems, the ideas. We have the will. It is time, once again, to raise the technology flag. It is the time to be techno-optimists. Technology. Techno-optimists believe that societies, like sharks, grow or die. We believe growth is progress, leading to vitality, expansion of life, increasing knowledge, higher well-being. We agree with Paul Collier when he says economic growth is not a cure-all. The lack of growth is a cure-all. We believe everything good is downstream of growth. We believe non-growing is stagnation, which leads to years of thinking, internal fighting, degradation, collapse, and ultimately death. There are only three sources of growth: population growth, natural resource utilization, and technology. Developed societies are repopulating all over the world. Across cultures, the total human population may already be shrinking. Natural resource utilization has sharp limits, both real and political, and so the only perpetual source of growth is technology. In fact, technology, new knowledge, new tools, what the Greeks call techne, has always been the main source of growth, perhaps the only cause of growth, as technology made population growth and natural resource utilization possible. We believe technology is a lever on the world, the way to make more with less. Economists measure technological progress as productivity growth. How much more can we produce each year with fewer inputs and fewer raw materials? Productivity growth, powered by technology, is the main driver of economic growth. Wage growth and the creation of new industries and new jobs as people and capital are continuously freed to do more important, valuable things than in the past. Productivity growth causes prices to fall, supply to rise, and demand to expand, improving the material well-being of the entire population. We believe this is the story of the material development of our civilization. This is why we are not still living in mud huts, out of the meager survival and basic nature controls. We believe this is why our descendants will live in this time. We believe that there is no material problem, whether created in nature or technology, that cannot be solved with more technology. We had a problem of starvation, so we invented the Green Revolution. We had a problem of darkness, so we invented electric lighting. We had a problem of cold, so we invented indoor heating. We had a problem of heat, so we invented air conditioning. We had a problem of isolation, so we invented the internet. We had a problem of pandemics, so we invented vaccines. We have a problem of poverty, so we invent technology to create abundance. Give us a real world problem, and we can invent technology that will solve it. Markets. We believe free markets are the most effective way to organize the technological economy. willing buyer meets willing seller, and peace is struck. Both sides benefit from the exchange, or doesn't happen. Profits are the incentive for producing and supply that goes demand. Prices encode information about supply and demand. Prices encode information about supply and demand. Markets cause entrepreneurs to stock high prices as a signal of opportunity to create new wealth by driving those prices down. We believe the market economy is a discovery machine, a form of intelligence, an exploratory, evolutionary, adaptive system. We believe Hayek's knowledge problem overwhelms any centralized economic system. All actual information is on the edges, in the hands of the people closest to the buyer. The central abstracted way in both the buyer and the seller knows nothing. Centralized planning is doomed to fail. The system of production and consumption is too complex. Decentralization harnesses complexity for the benefit of everyone. Centralization will starve you to death. We believe in market discipline. The market naturally disciplines the seller. The seller either learns and changes when the buyer fails to show or exits the market. When market discipline is absent, there is no limit to how crazy things get. The motto of every monopoly and cartel, every centralized institution not subject to market discipline is we don't care because we don't have to. Markets prevent monopolies and cartels. Really, market markets lift people out of poverty. In fact, markets are by far the most effective way to lift vast numbers of people out of poverty. It always has been. Even in totalitarian regimes, an incremental lifting of the repressive boot off the throat of the people and their ability to produce and trade leads to rapidly increasing rising income and standards of living. Lift the boot a little more, even better. Take the boot off entirely. Who knows about how rich everyone can get? We believe markets are inherently an individualistic way to achieve superior cultural outcomes. We believe markets do not require people to be perfect or even well-intentioned, which is good because you have met people. Have you met people? As Adam Smith notes, it is not for the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect a dinner, or from their regard to their own self-interest. We address ourselves not to their humanity, but to their self-love. We never talk to them of our own necessities, but of their advantages. David Friedman points out that people only do things for other people for two reasons: love, money, or force. Love doesn't scale, so the economy can only run on money or force. The force experiment has been run and found wanting. Let's stick with money. We believe the ultimate moral defense of the markets is that they divert people who otherwise would raise armies and start religions into peacefully productive pursuits. We believe markets, to quote Nicholas Stern, are how we take care of people we need to know. We believe markets are the way to generate societal wealth for everything else we want to pay for, including basic research, social welfare programs, and national defense. We believe there is no conflict between capitalist profits and a social welfare system that protects the vulnerable. In fact, they are aligned. The production of markets creates the economic wealth that pays for everything else we want as a society. We believe central economic planning elevates the worst of us and drags everyone down. Markets exploit the best of us to benefit all of us. We believe central planning is a big lab. Markets are an upward spiral. The economist William Nardos has shown that creators of technology are only able to capture about 2% of the economic value created by that technology. The other 98% flows through the society in the form of what economists call social surplus. Technological innovation in a market system is inherently philanthropic by 50 to 1 ratio. Who gets more value from a new technology? The single company that makes it, or the millions or billions of people who use it to improve their lives? We believe in David Ricardo's concept of comparative advantage as distinct from competitive advantage. Comparative advantage holds that even someone who is the best in the world doing something bad, doing everything, will buy most things from other people due to opportunity cost. Comparative advantage in the context of a properly free market guarantees high employment regardless of the level of technology. Okay, that's about 25 minutes. We came to page number 45. We'll take a break and then start reading it again.